It's time for Mike Woodson and Indiana basketball to turn up the heat in high school recruiting.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into this, the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. Look, make every moment more as playoffs wind down. The sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Well, thank you so much for making Locked On Hoosiers your first listen each and every day. A reminder that we are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, and they are making this video and this audio version free and available to you each and every day. So thank you so much for tuning in here today. Well, it's time for the Hoosiers and Mike Woodson for Indiana basketball to turn up the heat and really get rocking in high school recruiting. We did some updates for you yesterday. If you missed that, be sure you go and check that out here at Locked On Hoosiers. But as this July evaluation period, the first one is upon us, right? There's tons of these tournaments and different events going on that you've got Mike Woodson, you've got assistant coaches who are all over the place watching the biggest names in high school basketball. And this is the time. I've been telling you this. My everydayers know this. It's time to get it going. It's time to really ramp up and get it going and push harder than you ever have before. You cannot give up. You cannot give in, because right now, with these 2025 guys, with these recruits in that class of 2025, they are playing in these tournaments, the Adidas 3SSB, you've got the Nike UIBL, you've got all these other tournaments going on right now with all of these AAU teams. And this is where they're putting on their big final performances before they make their big decisions in just a few months. And I've continued to tell you that the trend is growing in high school basketball and high school sports. These guys are making their decisions before their senior seasons. And so they don't want to get into late October, early November, into December before they commit to a program. They want to get it done and out of the way. And with these July evaluation periods, you've got this one right now. You'll have another one coming up on July 19th. You have to be present. You have to be vocal. You have to be seen by these players. That's why it's so important for Mike Woodson and these assistants to be going around to these big tournaments like they're doing right now, right? It is so crucial for a Braylon Mullins or a Trent Sisley to go to these tournaments, have a big game, and those guys are going off, by the way. They've got 20-point games galore. They go to these games, they go to these tournaments, and it's nice for them to be able to go and play these big games and look up and they see Mike Woodson. Or after the game, they're able to see him or talk to him or whatever the case may be. It's nice for them to see that, just to constantly be reminded, hey, I know that they still want me, and I'm not going to forget about that. That's what the Hoosiers are trying to do here. And so, look, you've got guys all over the place that are having really, really big tournaments. Guys that the Hoosiers are looking at right now. We know about Sisley, Mullins, and Moreno, right? Trent Sisley, Braylon Mullins, and Malachi Moreno. They all play on the same team. They play on that Indiana elite team, which is just so stacked, man. The fact that those three guys all play on the same AAU team, we've talked about how that could be in a huge favor in the, I guess, to the advantage of us here in Bloomington, because we're going after all three of them. Do you get all three? I don't know. Probably not, but you could. And the fact that they could all come together, they've played together before, they play with this team together, and they're pretty freaking good. If you haven't seen them play, they could just say, hey, why don't we do something special? Why don't we go and play for Indiana together? That would be awesome, especially a couple of those guys being Indiana kids. Other guys that they're out seeing, Anthony Thompson has been making waves. Michael Brown Jr., who is a 5-star in 2025, he is out playing. He'll be playing actually today on this Friday. And Nate Mitch from 2025, a guy that they've been watching as well. Guys that have really put on big performances, guys that I think are really exciting to watch Nate Ament. And then even Anthony Thompson from 2026, the forward, the 5-star in next year's class, is somebody that the Hoosiers are out watching as well. I say all that to say this: you've got to ramp it up right here. This is your time. This is when it's won and lost in high school recruiting, because all these other coaches and things are out there. Now, you've done all the work beforehand that you needed to do, right? You went and you've been on these kids for years. You've continued to text them and call them and check in with them. You've brought them in. And some of these guys are still going to be coming on late visits early this fall, right? Coming in and seeing some football games and going to the facilities and things like that for either official or unofficial visits. But this is where I really believe you can make such an impact right now when you prove that you can show up, when you prove that you're not too busy in the summer, or you're not relaxing this summer, you're not taking it off, you're not worried about, or I guess overly worried about your team and summer workouts. You still are making time to come and see me. If I'm Braylon Mullins or Trent Sisley or any of these guys, that's how I look at it personally. So that's where I'm coming from with this, is that's how I would look at it. I'd say, wow, he took time out of the summer from his family, from his coaches, from his team as they're getting ready for a big season. And they came out here to see me. They came out here to see my team, and they've been here for multiple days. That's something that resonates with me personally. And so I hope that these big time recruits see that. And I hope that they're making the connection where it's not just some random team or some random coach. This is Indiana. This is Mike Woodson, a program that's been on you for a long, long time. If you turn up the heat right now, you've got a good chance to land some of these guys. I'm still looking at Mullins. I'm still looking at Sisley, and I'm still looking at Moreno. Those are three of the guys that they're out watching this week. I mentioned Nate Ament also, who had a double-double at one point in one of his games. And look, man, these guys can freaking play. If you have a chance to get some video or go watch or do whatever, I highly recommend that you do, because you're watching some of the best high school players in the country go at it in these next few days. This first evaluation period, the second one will open up on the 19th, which is about a week. This one runs through Sunday, and then it'll open up again late next week. And so that's why it's time for Mike Woodson and Indiana basketball. Now's the time to win. Crank up the heat, do whatever you got to do, bring out the big guns, and go get the best players in the 2025 class. Well, coming up on Locked On Hoosiers, going to look at football for a second, but not the team in particular. Some of the traditions for Indiana are changing up just a little bit on game day. We'll talk about that coming up next on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need and the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay's Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here again, making this your first listen each and every day. Shout out to the Locked On Podcast Network, who makes all of this possible for us. And so be sure you're checking out all of our other shows, especially here on the college channel. Check out my guys, Isaac and Andy, over at Locked On College Basketball. A lot of other recruiting updates with my man Lance Dahl at Locked On Kentucky. We've got recruiting battles going on like crazy. So be sure you go check him out as well at Locked On Kentucky. But while you're here at Locked On Hoosiers on the YouTube channel, be sure you like the video, comment down below on who you think the Hoosiers are going to land in the 2025 class, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new episode on YouTube. Same thing for those of you on audio. Be sure you follow, turn on notifications, whatever you got to do so you never miss a new episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Well, a little bit of an update on Indiana football in the game day atmosphere, the pregame festivities a little bit. Indiana announced on Wednesday that it has moved Hep's Rock, the legendary rock boulder that has sat right there inside of Memorial Stadium. Players would come out, they'd touch it, they'd smack it, they'd do whatever. And it was a really neat tradition, right? It's something that Indiana football, it's one of the very cool things that they got to do before a game. And it's a legendary piece of history in college football, and especially for us here at Indiana. Now, it's not going anywhere. It's not leaving, but it is moving, okay? Indiana football announced that the Hep's Rock will no longer be in the north end zone, but it's actually going to be at the east entrance of Memorial Stadium. So now it's actually going to be outside at the east entrance of the football stadium where you, the fan, can actually go out and be a part of it. You can touch it. You can take pictures. Maybe sit on it. I don't really know. I doubt it, but hey, maybe give it a try. Somebody do it until they tell you can't, I guess. But you're going to be able to have that a part of your pregame tradition. And on top of all the other things you do with tailgating and taking pictures and doing things like that, you now get to have a part and be with Hep's Rock. You can touch it and do all that sort of thing. And so, it's an interesting move. It is. It's an interesting move. I like where they put it. I think it's going to be a good idea. I think that it's something that Indiana fans are excited about. They're passionate about. They really care about this. And look, people on the outside will say, well, it's just a rock. Well, they're idiots and we don't deal with them, right? It's something that's special to us. And look, it's been around since 2005. That's when it was established and put in, was 2005, of course, named after legendary head coach Terry Hepner here. And it is something that we take a lot of pride in. And now, not only is it moved from inside to the south or to the east entrance of the stadium, they've also renamed it. Where it used to say The Rock on the plate, it now says Hep's Rock on that plate. And so really excited for this. It's a small move, but it's a cool move. The players may be a little upset about it. I doubt they're going to just raise hell about it. But I think it's a cool thing for the fans. And I think that's what Indiana's trying to do here, is really appeal to you, the fans that are going to be at the games and having this a part of your new pregame tradition. The kids get to see it. The kids get to go and take pictures with it. You get to family photos. Like, you get to do a lot of cool things with Hep's Rock. And it's a really unique piece of history for Indiana football. And so this just goes back to what I've continued to talk about with Curt Cignetti. My everydayers know that this is the thing I've talked about with him. They are just investing in Indiana football. The university, the athletic department, they are investing in Indiana football in more ways than just money, right? This is an investment in the football team, in the program, and the fan base that they are wanting to support it. That's what this move is. This is not just taking a rock and moving it one place to the other. This is investing in you, the fans. And I think it's something that you should take notice of. Some of you may care and some of you may not, but I think it's important because it shows that the athletics department is ready to do whatever it is that they do. Okay. And they're doing whatever they need to do to make your experience better. And you do have the walk, right? That's now going to be taking place. It's still happening through the east entrance, but the rock is going to be a part of that. Hep's Rock is there. So the players still get to be a part of that. And they still have the rock as something they can touch on the way in. And so I think it's a good move. I really, really do. And I'm pumped to see what Curt Cignetti has to say in his, first time that he gets to experience this and things like that. And so, look, I'm just excited, man. I'm really intrigued by what Indiana is doing because they understand this is such a crucial time in college football. They understand that you have to invest right now because it's so wide open. There's so many moving parts and there's so many things changing by the day that it's going to be so easy to be left behind and not be able to catch up. There are ways to catch up, but there's also ways to be left behind. And this is a time for the Hoosiers football program to make up some serious ground because you can make it up quicker than you ever could before. It's just a year to year. You just never know what's going to happen. And so in a bigger, more competitive Big Ten and an easier to make college football playoff with NIL openly paying players. I'm sure you saw the thing with the NCAA and the ruling where players are basically going to become employees is what we're heading towards, which means contracts. That's what that means. Player contracts. We're heading closer to professional athletics. But with all the money flying around and all the wild, wild west and the unrestricted guidelines that they have, you have to do that. Contracts are going to have to happen here. And so for Indiana, you've got to find a way in any program, really, got to find a way to reel all that in and figure out how to take advantage of it and make the best of it for our particular program. And I think the Hoosiers are trying to do that. And they continue to invest time, effort, and money into this football program because they feel and they understand that there is a future here, that they didn't just give up, that Indiana football is not a lost cause, because it's not. I don't believe that. I hope you don't either. And I'll tell you a guy that doesn't believe that, and it's new head football coach Curt Cignetti. That's a guy that believes in Indiana. That's a guy that believes in his system, his process, and his ways that can turn this thing around and really make this a competitive program, not just in the Big Ten, but I think in college football. Because look at it this way. The college football playoff right now is 12 teams. It went from no playoff to 4 teams, now to 12. Do you really think they're going to stop at 12? Do you really think the powers that be are going to say, no, we're good. We don't want to make any more money. I think we're good. That's enough. Our pockets are a little too full. No, give me a break. They're going to make it as big as they possibly can because more games means more money, which in our case, the bigger it gets, the better chance we have of making it. I'm just being honest with you here. And if you look at what Cignetti has done in the past and his other rides, yeah, playoffs and postseason games are not out of the question here. Now, it's going to take some time. I'm not saying it's going to happen this year or even next year or even year 3. But if you can just take the proper steps and get better every year, the future is really bright here. And it's exciting to know we've got a coach that cares, a coach that wants to be here, and a coach that can win and has proven it in the past. And the organization, the athletics department, and the university, they're all behind him with the full support, and they're making efforts and taking action and showing that they're willing to do whatever it takes to make Indiana football a good program once again. Well, coming up on our final segment on Locked On Hoosiers, taking a look back at the way too early top 25 from ESPN. It got updated about a week or so ago, and the Hoosiers are still a top 25 team. We'll take a look at that, plus some other teams around there as well. We'll have that for you in our final segment on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. I love sports, and I love them so much, and I know that you do too, but we just never want them to stop. But the playoffs are over. You've got Major League Baseball, which is awesome to me. Some people like it, some people don't. I love it. You do have the Olympics coming up. Hey, you do have the WNBA, which is really starting to grow around here with Caitlin Clark. She's doing some real special things. We get fewer games, though, unfortunately, in this time of the year. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want them to. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime that I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head over to FanDuel and start making the most out of your summer. That's FanDuel.com to start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of Major League Baseball. Final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Again, I appreciate you being here, making sure you're an everyday, or those of you that show up each and every day, Monday through Friday. Thank you so much for being one of those. Indiana basketball, we'll go back to that sport as we wrap up the show today. The way too early top 25 from ESPN. This was released a little over a week ago, and I think we've mentioned this a time or two here on the show, but I wanted to run through it again here on this Friday and talk about some of the teams that kind of surprised me, talk about Indiana, of course, and maybe some of the other Big Ten teams that surround us. They have Kansas as the number 1 team in the country. All right, they've got stupid talent coming in, man, and just so many guys coming back from from a year ago, and the one is Hunter Dickinson. The fact that he decided to not go pro and come back for another year for Bill Self in Kansas is truly ridiculous. Alabama at number 2, talk about the rise for them, man. They've picked up so many transfer guys, and I think everybody in their starting 5 is going to be a junior or senior. They may all be seniors. Like, it's that crazy on what's happening at Alabama. So they're number 2. UConn number 3, returning national champs. Dan Hurley just signed a 6-year, so I don't remember the number, but stupid amount of millions for Dan Hurley at UConn. So he's not going anywhere. Houston at 4, Gonzaga at 5. I don't think that'll last. Baylor at 6, kind of surprising to me, but they do have the number 3 player in the class coming in to start for them at small forward. Iowa State at 7. How about the Cyclones? They're going to have a chance to make some noise in a new look Big 12. Remember, Texas, Oklahoma, no longer in the Big 12. You've got Houston, Cincinnati, BYU, UCF are competing there. Colorado now back in the Big 12. That's more of a football storyline than it is a basketball storyline, but something to keep an eye on. Duke at 8, Arizona at 9. Of course, Hoosiers will be playing, or hopefully playing, against Arizona. That's a team that's going to be in the battle for Atlantis coming up at the end of November. I would love to play that Arizona team. They're going to be good. Don't get me wrong. And they're returning all 5 starters from a year ago. Or I guess they're returning all of their 5 predicted starters will be returning. Maybe the Oakland transfer could be their starting 4, but we'll see if Trey Talbot, he's a stud. North Carolina at 10, Auburn at 11, Texas A&M at 12, Tennessee 13, Arkansas 14. How about that? That's 4 straight SEC teams. Auburn at 11, A&M at 12, Tennessee 13, Arkansas at 14. The Blue Jays of Creighton are at 15. Purdue, the Boilermakers, are at 16, a team, of course, that we know way too much about. And so the question for Purdue becomes, all right, what is Purdue going to be without Zach Edey? All right, here's their projected starting lineup. Braden Smith at the point, Fletcher Lawyer at the 2, Camden Hyde at the 3, Trey Kaufman-Wren at the 4, and then Daniel Jacobson, a four-star recruit coming in for Purdue. I think they're going to be good. I do. I think they're going to be a solid team. Are they going to be a 1 seed and make a run to the Final Four? No, I don't think so. And I really do think this is a year where Indiana can be better than Purdue. And look, I think we will be better than Purdue. I just think we have a better roster. Purdue's had a much better roster than we have the past few years, and Matt Painter is a fantastic head coach. And you also had a freak of nature in Zach Edey, who was 8 feet tall, but you don't have that anymore. And you could see, even with him, Purdue had flaws. They did. They had flaws, and it shows. And now that he's not there, I think you'll see Purdue take a step back this season. And let's be honest, we all hope so, right? Marquette at 17. Your Indiana Hoosiers are at 18. Here's the little snippet it says on ESPN.com. It says, quote, Mike Woodson got his offseason work done early as the Hoosiers were the big winners of the first wave of the portal season. The Hoosiers landed Arizona transfer Umar Ballo, the top-ranked player in the portal, as well as top 15 guard transfers Miles Rice and Cannon Carlisle. 3 starters also returned: Malik Renew, Mackenzie Mbako, and Trey Galloway. They added Illinois transfer Luke Goody to address their shooting woes, although another perimeter sniper with size could help. And I've heard great things about Luke Goody, by the way. Great things about Goody. I've heard he may be the best 3-point shooter so far this offseason for Indiana basketball. And look, some of us kind of agree and disagree on who's going to be the starting 2. I think it's Cannon Carlisle. Some of you think it's Trey Galloway. We're just going to have to wait and see. Bottom line, this is a top 20 team preseason, and they will be a top 20 team, I think, all season long. We've talked about how the non-con is not the hardest, and I've got episodes coming up next week about how I think we could go undefeated in non-conference play, but this team has expectations, and we better live up to them because this is Mike Woodson's most talented roster so far since he's been at Indiana. Cincinnati Bearcats at 19. The Rebels of Ole Miss are at 20. Florida at 21. Texas at 22. God, there's a lot of SEC teams. There's Kentucky at 23 with new head coach Mark Pope. Listen to this, man. They're going to have – I was hearing I saw Lance Dahl on Locked On Kentucky the other day talking about how they could have a platoon system at Kentucky. Remember when Cal did that years ago? He's saying Mark Pope might be able to do that this year. You have Kirk Kriisa at the 1, Otega Owa at the 2, Jackson Robinson at the 3, Andrew Carr at the 4, and Amari Williams at the 5, the Drexel transfer one we were hoping to get, but we got Umar Ballo, so I think we're going to be okay. UCLA at 24, and how about Rutgers at 25? That's pretty good for the Big Ten. So let's see. There's one Big Ten school with Rutgers, 2 with Indiana, 3 with Purdue, and then it gets kind of skim going towards the top. I've got 3 so far, and that may be it. It is. That's all we got is the 3. So Big Ten's got to make up some ground, man. Big Ten's got to have some of those mid-major teams. I'd say mid-major. I guess middle of the pack teams, the Michigans, Michigan States, Ohio States of the world, the Marylands, even the newcomers as well, Oregon, Washington, UCLA, right? UCLA's down there, right? Did I miss that one? Maybe I did. Give me a second. UCLA may have been down here. Yep, UCLA. See, still got to get used to that with UCLA and USC being a part of the Big Ten too. So that could help Indiana in terms of their record. It might hurt us, though, in terms of strength of record when you start talking about a weaker Big Ten. That's conversations for a different time. We got to get out of here, get into the weekend. Thank you so much for being here and making Locked On Hoosiers your first listen each and every day. Again, if you're looking for your next watch right now, go check out Locked On College Basketball. Isaac and Andy do a wonderful job over there, and you won't be disappointed. We have them on this show, and they do a great job on their show as well. Before you go, if you're on YouTube, like our video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Same thing for those of you on the audio version as well. Have a great weekend, Hoosier fans. We will be back next week, okay? Got a lot of good stuff coming up next week, so be sure you check back in on Monday. Until then, have a great weekend. Stay safe, Hoosier fans, and I'll talk to you later.